Now, you were involved somewhat with Diddy because you were a bodyguard to somebody that went to some of his parties, correct?
Yes, sir. That's exactly how it happened.
And were you at a lot of these freak offs, I guess we got to call them?
So here's the thing. I only been to 3 of his events. Now, when the first part of the event is a normal socializing mixer, upscale, the who's who is there, it's normal. But when you see the guy come out with the black suit and he's collecting everyone's cell phone and then inviting them to another party, which I say it's layers to it. They're inviting you to another part of the party where everybody cannot go.
Mm.
You see, so then that's when discrepancies start to take place because my business is predicated on protecting women mostly because you know how dudes are with a lot of money, like
Yeah.
they can straddle the fence. So once ladies in the industry know, like, oh, he's got integrity, he can't be bought, stuff like that. You get booked a lot. So in one instance, I was with a lady. She on the cover of the Gucci magazine. Beautiful lady, uh, a real runway model. And oftentimes, when you're doing close protection work for a model, but they barely get to eat at all.
Mm.
And when they do eat, like they'll get like the nutrients out of it. They'll
Right.
chew a grape, but they won't swallow the grape.
They're trying to maintain because they're trying to maintain their figure. Yeah.
Yeah. So one glass of wine to that person, she's gonna get drunk fast.
Right.
So my job, you got to monitor those things. And a situation took place where it was a couple of us, and it's 4 of us total, 3 ladies, the principal and her 2 buddies. They sipped something and they started getting sick.
And this was the woman you were protecting. You were her security.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So my antennas go up. It led to a confrontation because I noticed that certain people knew what was going on. And a guy told me to relax, it's normal. No, this is not normal. Y'all don't know who y'all got here today. And, it led to a confrontation. I ended up getting hit with a bottle, get stitches. A couple of guys had to go to the hospital, stuff like that.
Was it one of Diddy's bodyguards or one of his security people? Yeah.
Yeah, some people from this team.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's got a team. He's got a team of people. And
so now when you say that this next group of people, this layer of group, did they go to a different location or was it at the same location?
Yes. So they ended up going upstairs.
Mm.
So because it's an open bar, first and foremost. Whatever drinks you want, usually the stuff he's contractually obligated to have normally. Any drug or narcotic you want is available. But you just start seeing groups of sex workers arrive, male, female, and you just start seeing people pairing off and start doing what they do. And if I'm in one of these events with a male and my principal is a man, I'll go wait in the car, because like, look, bro, I'm not here for the swinger party. You feel me? And then, you don't want to be the straight guy in a party where everybody else is rainbow, because when they start hitting on you, now you're the jerk. You never want to be that guy. You got to be a gentleman at all times until it's time to get vicious if necessary. So I never directly was paid by him or worked for him. I ended up at some of his events due to my employment, and yeah, man. A lot of strange things take place for sure.
Let me ask you a question. If you can recall, what was the worst thing or the most off-color thing that you saw happen at any one of these events?
Okay. So now when it comes to his events, the most off-color thing I saw was 1 second he's in a suit, next second he's in a towel, and he's holding hands with 2 Eastern European gentlemen. And
when you say he, that's Diddy. You mean Diddy? Okay. Okay.
Yeah, and he's holding hands with these little vampire-looking guys, like they off the movie Twilight. And you know, I knew. I said, all right, now I know what this is. I see what's going on here. You know, it's time for us to exit. You see what I'm saying? So, by the grace of the good Lord, you know, I was able to remove myself and my principal from there. But you know, there's been times where I've been with guys and they're staying. You know, I had a famous singer tell me one day that he prefers trans ladies because they have stronger hands and stronger jaw muscles.
Now, who told you that?
He's a singer. His name's Bobby Valentino.
Bobby Valentino. Unbelievable.
Yeah, so you know, but we grew up, we never looked up to these type of people. We always looked up to the gangsters, bro. So like the gangster guys, my uncles and all of them, they would always say, man, be careful, man. That entertainment stuff is for sissies, stuff like that.
Exactly.
And you know, so it's all about perspective.
I have a question for all my friends and followers. Have you tried my wine yet? You know, in the last 2 years, we've made tremendous progress with Franzese wine, and it's really all thanks to your support, and obviously because people are finding out we have a great wine at a great price. In 2025, we aim to become a national brand, and I want all of you to be a part of it. Every bottle you buy, every story you share builds more than a brand. It fuels a movement. The story of our wine is one of people having second chances and of lives being transformed. That's the truth. So go to my website, franzesewine.com, and get your bottle today. Salud, my friends.
Let me ask you this. There's been some talk that he had some drinks that were laced with something.
Laced in drinks in the hip hop, entertainment, fashion industry is a big thing.
And what do they lace it with?
Well, previously it was Rutherland. And then the onset of...
You got to forgive me, homie, but what is that? What is Rutherland?
Rutherland, you ever heard the term someone got roof?
Oh, yeah, Rutherland. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
Rutherland was like the majority, but, you know, whenever you see guys doing a lot of cocaine, scopolamine is going to be around.
Mm-hmm.
And scopolamine, you know, once you're dosed with scopolamine, a person can take you to the ATM machine. They can say, empty your ATM machine, empty your account. You're going to empty the account out, give away all your furniture. You know, you have no control of yourself until it wears off. And it's usually permanent neurological problems that come from being dosed with scopolamine. So Rutherland and scopolamine is something I was always leery of, for sure.
Do you know if that ever happened at a Diddy party?
So I will say this. There are a lot of people in my inbox who are on active indictments toward him who are alleging that this took place. So, you know, recently he came under scrutiny because of liquid GHB. Now, liquid GHB in a very small amount can incapacitate you, lowers your heart rate to the point where someone may think you're asleep or dead, but you're really not. So there are people in the indictment saying that, you know, he squirted them with baby oil and they passed out.
And what do you, and in my thinking, the only reason you would want to do that is to take advantage of somebody, whether it be sexually or any other way.
Right. And what I've grown to understand is any man who does ecstasy for longer than 2 or 3 years, they start to become a sexual deviant. This guy Combs been doing ecstasy for 20 years. And now when he was arrested with a substance called Tusi, which is ketamine, ecstasy, cocaine mixed, and is dyed to be pink.
Yes.
So, you know,
that's the pink cocaine that now everybody's talking about.
There's definitely addiction involved, and there's definitely a drug aspect involved as well.
Let me ask you this. Did you ever hear of cyanide being mixed in any of these drinks?
Now, see, whenever people mention cyanide, I get uncomfortable because over a period of 6 years, I had pneumonia 3 times, right? So on the final time, my mom takes me to the hospital. They get a toxicology report done. I test positive for cyanide.
Hmm.
The way cyanide metabolizes in the human body is after a certain amount of dosages, it turns into pneumonia.
Hmm.
Kim Porter, his ex-wife, died from pneumonia.
I heard that.
His ex-bodyguard recently, a few months ago, just died from pneumonia. And when I first started speaking out about this, there were no podcasts. It's like 2013. There are no podcasts. Social media is really just starting to get ingrained in society. So people told me I was crazy, said I was a hater, but I work hand in hand with law enforcement in my career path. And, you know, they tested my car. My car handles tested positive for cyanide. So, you know, I don't think a person will use cyanide directly at a party, but cyanide is around. I tested positive for it. I got my toxicology report to this day. So.
And let me ask you, why would you put cyanide in somebody's drink? What kind of behavior would that cause you to, to be?
Yeah, so you feel like you got the flu. You feel sick. You want to isolate yourself from everyone. And your lungs, you coughing up mucus. Like, throughout history, cyanide poison was a way people got away with murder before the onset of better technology for testing for certain toxins and stuff like that. Because, you know, cyanide used to be in rat poison. So, you know, it's all type of cold case files. This person, she poisoned her husband over a series of weeks with rat poison. He died from pneumonia. You know, where there's smoke, there's fire. You know, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I don't invent or embellish. I'm only gonna speak on things I can verify to be facts. And, you know, I definitely tested positive for the cyanide and I had pneumonia 3 times. I basically got 1 lung now because of it.
Really? So, but this didn't occur at a party for you. I mean, you didn't take a drink at one of Diddy's parties, and maybe the cyanide was in one of those drinks.
No, see, because, you know, I have been privy to certain things. So, you know, it's footage of me with a bottle of champagne in my hand that I brought with me while I'm with models and stuff like that. Because, you know, it's a scary feeling, bro. Like when you can look at somebody and tell they've been compromised and you can't really explain why. So once me and my team had experienced roofing on our own, we said we can never let this happen again. So we invented some new protocols. You know, if a bottle get brought to a section, if it's opened already, you gotta send it back. You know, we would travel with a portable test kit with us. You know, all type of, if people are paying you to protect their life, you know, you got to use every tool that's available to you.
Well, again, without making any definite allegations or pointing fingers, it makes you think why, Kim Porter would have died of pneumonia when Diddy is putting everything else in drinks. I'm not saying he did it. We don't know that. But it raises eyebrows. You gotta kind of think about it, Why did that happen? And she was relatively young, Kim. I mean, she was a young girl. It's not normal that you die of pneumonia at that age.
Just not normal. Just not normal. And some of the other substances that we mentioned, people will still start partying off of that. Cyanide touch you, you don't want to party.
Yeah.
So, you almost get a feeling like, man, something's wrong here. But you're not going to think that somebody's poisoning. You're not going to think that,
Right.
But it definitely happened to me. So, and like in the work that I do to combat human trafficking, I've had bounties on my life. I've had the FBI showing up telling me, yeah, we got information. By law, they got to tell you.
Right.
Had those situations, you know. So you know, you just kind of get accustomed that you know what you signed up for. So you know, you just try to take as many steps possible to mitigate risk and man, and hope for the best. Be vigilant.
My friends, if you enjoyed this video, I'm going to give you an opportunity to become my partner in business. Franzese Wine experiencing tremendous growth over the past couple of years, and we're going to experience even further growth in the next few years. You're going to have an opportunity to be my partner because you've been supporting me, you've been my fan base, and I want to share this with you. So go to invest.franzesewine.com, and offer you shouldn't refuse.